We're live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook, DSTV channel 279, all across the world on 3news.com. Let's get into it now. Government will commence the new year and the implementation of the 2022 budget without its major revenue source. That's the electronic transfer levy bill. That's the E-LEVY, touted as the game changer. Its failure to be passed by the legislature has largely been blamed on the Speaker, Alban Bagbin. Here's a report by Komla Kluchi.
We have to do this because of the importance of the matter before the House and the consequences of that matter.
From the commencement of the business on Monday, it was clear the E-LEVY was the only item to be considered before the House rises. For hours, the Speaker waited and for the singular item to be delivered, but to no avail, as the Finance Committee was still deliberating on the bill before being put to vote. For the third time in a year, shame and rancor rocked the fulcrum of Ghana's democracy. Consensus broke down.
No negotiation as far as what is this?
The House are doing.
You can't use your data habit.
NBC for me on transfer.
With the division called by the Minority Chief Whip and the subsequent attempt by the First Deputy Speaker to leave the chamber, there could be only this explanation by the Majority Leader.
After a while, when he had called for division, he indicated that he wanted to go and take his medication and use the loo.
For us, we are happy. We won't be bullied any longer as a minority party.
At the receiving end of all this is the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Bagbin. The decision on the E-LEVY has hit a snag, at least for now, moments after the House adjourned sine die. Blamed on the Speaker's absence, Alban Sumana Bagbin reported to the legislature for his daily work. It remains unclear whether Speaker Alban Bagbin will in this instance take responsibility again. Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Parliament House, Accra.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Fosse Yiribi Kojopon Kroma has said the Republic of Ghana must address the situation where some lawmakers resort to violence as a way of expressing their disagreement in the House. Speaking on Midday Live right here on TV3, the Information Minister said violence has never been a legitimate tool to be used when there is a disagreement.
Is to deal with the growing conduct of some members of Parliament, that whenever they do not agree with something, whether it's the Speaker's ruling or a position of the executive or a position of a member of Parliament, they resort to violence and physical attacks in the chamber. That is the reason for which we have had to adjourn today, because today, Mr. Speaker is still not in the House. We are not able to proceed with business without rancor, because what it will mean is that the First Deputy Speaker or the Second Deputy Speaker will have to take the chair.
Okay.
And under the circumstances, if a matter comes to a vote and he chooses to exercise his casting vote, which he's entitled to, our colleagues on the other side will resort to violence. I think everybody now sees it clearly. So what's next is that the Republic of Ghana needs to address this situation where members of Parliament, some members of Parliament, resort to violence as a way of expressing their displeasure. It's totally unacceptable, totally uncalled for. The Marshal's Department, under the leadership of the Speaker, have to have a handle of this. Because it doesn't matter that today it's E-LEVY. Tomorrow it could be anything. And when some particular member of Parliament is not happy with it, then there will be a resort to violence and fisticuffs. That is what next needs to be dealt with.
Well, the majority leader is accusing the Speaker, Alban Sumana Bagman, of holding the House to ransom by deliberately, in his words, leaving the chamber on Monday evening in the lead up to the chaos that ensued. But there are counter-arguments to the effect the Speaker has a right to request for the absence clearly in the standing orders of Parliament.
So we came today, we adjourned the House to 9 o'clock, and when we came 10 o'clock, then we had indication that the Speaker said he will not be able to join us at 9 o'clock or even 10 o'clock, that he will come back, he will come here at 11:30. Subsequently, another message came to say that no, he says he can only be here at 12. And I mean, the House cannot be held to ransom by one person. The House cannot be held to ransom by one person. And I think it's most unfortunate. Yesterday, leaving the seat, he told the first Deputy Speaker that he was handing over to, that, oh, he should come and relieve him. He's stepping out, he'll come back pretty soon to also relieve him. All that we heard was that he had left to his house. And that's most unfortunate, without any further communication to the first Deputy Speaker or to me. Because as I said, I had been having some discussions with him. And I'm told today that he didn't even have any discussion with the minority leadership as well. So where are we going from here? A most unfortunate development.
Well, that's Osei Chairman Sabonso, the majority leader there. But is there really any justification for this particular accusation against the Speaker of Parliament of holding the House to ransom and indeed affecting government business? I've been joined via Zoom by Dr. Rashid Dramani, Executive Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Dr. Rashid, good evening to you. Thank you for joining us this evening, if you can hear me.
Yes, good evening, Alfred. Can you hear me?
Great, I can hear you clearly. It's good to have you. So, is there any real justification for this criticism of Alban Bagman's absence prior to this chaos that we saw last night?
Alfred, I'm not too sure what necessitated the departure of the Right Honorable Speaker from the House. At least we know he came back from medical leave some time back, and perhaps maybe this could be part of this process of recuperation and so on. But look, Alfred, at the bottom of this is the important matter of ensuring that a good relationship exists between the Speaker and the two sides of Parliament, but also, most importantly, between the Speaker and, if you like, the executive and all the key actors from, outside of Parliament who are ruling this country. Because, you see, we are in a situation where our country is tensed right now. The political temperature has been too high in the last couple of weeks. And then I was surprised during the weekend to hear, utterances at the MPP Congress saying, the media carried it, saying that the Speaker was chastised for saying there's no majority and so on. I think those comments do not help an already bad situation around this time. So maybe I'm just saying, perhaps the Speaker might be saying, okay, if a party has the majority, then I can be absent, and then the party can use its majority to do the business of the House. I'm just hazarding a guess, Alfred.
Okay.
Because at this point in time, we are calling on all our leaders, to cease fire and try to make sure that any utterance that does not help, us come out of this situation should be avoided as much as possible.
Well, in fact, the explanation for his absence, as given by the minority leader, indeed our parliamentary correspondent also corroborates that, is that because you're right that he went for this medical checkup, came back, he actually underwent a procedure and at the time excused himself to go take his medication, and also, according to the majority leader, visit the washroom, but they didn't hear anything else afterwards. But granted, I mean, you have been watching events prior to yesterday. Clearly, that chaos and lawlessness we saw last night wouldn't surprise you, looking at the preceding events to yesterday.
Yes, indeed. I think I was not really very surprised, and I heard the Honorable Minister for Information on your program really making the point that it's important that this violence that we are beginning to see characterizing proceedings in our parliament, we should find a way to stop it. I agree totally, but I think we missed an opportunity on January 7 when there was ballot snatching and ballot eating and the military in the house and so on. Nothing really happened to anybody, So I guess that's what's emboldening others to do what they are currently doing. There were many people who called for a thorough investigation of what happened on January 7, including if you like, the military takeover of our parliament and so on. I don't know whether you have heard anything about this, but I haven't heard anything. Nobody has had to answer any question on that for their actions. So if we are talking about, all the wrong things that are happening in our parliament, I think let's look at it in a very holistic manner. Nobody should condone any violence, but anybody who has done wrong, let's make sure that, they are made to answer, so that at least we can set a very clear example that if you have any disagreement, please do that through what members of parliament are good at. That is through talking and through maybe the power of argument, rather than the power of the strength that you have.
Now, there are those who argue strongly that indeed the speaker's absence yesterday was deliberate. And here are the reasons why they say so. So, for instance, in November, when the 2022 budget was rejected, he sat and presided over the proceedings without the majority. And afterwards, he left for his medical checkup in Dubai. Then the first deputy speaker had to sit in and also presided over the sitting and overturned his decision by approving the 2022 budget. We saw the chaos afterwards until yesterday, when this thorny issue of the E-LEVY bill had to be approved, and he exited as well. So this sequence of events is what those who believe that his absence is deliberate are pointing to. How do you react to this?
Well, Alfred, honestly, I don't want to go into the kind of trying to hazard guesses about what accounted for the absence of the Right Honorable Speaker from the House. We haven't heard from the Right Honorable Speaker himself. So, but if I look at this very, very carefully, from where I sit and from the kind of interest that we have in the work that we do, we want to see a functional parliament. We want to see our parliament doing what it should be doing best, that is holding the executive to account. And what we are seeing so far is a breakdown in the relationship between the majority and the minority sides, but also, most importantly, a breakdown in relationship between the members of parliament and the Right Honorable Speaker, because this is one speaker whose rulings have been challenged more than any other speaker that we have had in the Fourth Republic so far, to the extent, as you said, that we saw even his ruling being overturned. This doesn't make for a very good working relationship between the Right Honorable Speaker and the two sides in Parliament. And so, for me, I would think that it could be the case that the relationship has not been too well lately, and if he is weighing maybe any sacrifices that he needs to make between maybe managing a chaotic situation and his health. Perhaps he chose to manage his health rather than be part of a situation where maybe in his judgment, well, I mean, if you have the majority and I'm absent, I have deputies who can run the affairs of Parliament.
Right. Dr. Rashid Rahman, I appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much. Dr. Rashid Rahman is the Director of the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs with his thoughts on this. Aisha.
Right, Alfred, we are still staying with Parliament, and the inability of the majority caucus in the House to negotiate with their minority counterpart on issues could only deepen mistrust and disagreement in proceedings. Political scientists tell Roland Walker the chaos being recorded in the current Parliament could worsen if strategies for lobbying and dialogue are not adopted.
And depending on which side of the political divide you find yourself, there is always the argument about whether the actions of either the majority or minority side in that parliament was right. But there are also proponents who insist that perhaps the majority side of parliament representing government should have undertaken a lot more engagement and negotiated before the proceedings that were undertaken.
If you are building consensus, it doesn't mean you are weak. We need to put aside a little bit of the partisan interest, need to put aside a little bit of the party interest, and then work towards the collective benefit of the Ghanaian population. If we do not do that, we are going to set a lot of bad precedent. We all know Parliament is a house of record, and all what is happening, an attempt to circumvent parliamentary standing orders just to score a political point, an attempt to look so strong, to look so transigent and all those things, it doesn't help our democracy.
The hung nature of Parliament brings to the fore a lot of demands. And what are some of these demands? Demands that you should be able to have constant dialogue with your colleagues in Parliament. The demand that you should be able to jaw over issue. The demand that you should be able to make compromises. If they allow these things to elude them, they are going to have difficulties as we go along.
Well, the happenings in Parliament has not escaped the concern of some residents in Second D in the Western region. Some who spoke to TV3 expressed disappointment at members of Parliament fighting over the yet to be approved E-LEVY as we speak.
If you want to pass some law, I mean, it should be both of the house. It should not be one part against the other. This E-LEVY that they want to pass. And I realized that there was some, blows from all angles. I said to myself, no, that is not the way Ghana should go. A whole parliamentarian, if for nothing at all, it is your constituents who sent you there. Go and represent the people of your constituents. They didn't say go and fight. It is a debate. So that debate, it must cut across both sides. Whether you agree or not, we are Ghanaians. Yeah. So, we disagree to agree in a way. So what went on yesterday, but very, very sad.
What is happening is very bad. As elders behaving that way, it's not good at all. The E-LEVY too, I will not agree to it because a lot of workers pay taxes. And it's true the salary that we earn, that we send some to our parents and friends and loved ones. So if you deduct E-LEVY from it, it's double taxing, which is not good. I think the E-LEVY, they should scrap it off. They should scrap it off.
And the fight in Parliament?
The fighting, they should stop those things. It's not good. Last time, a lady sat on one gentleman, which is not good. So there's fighting there. We are also learning. So if they are doing that, it does not portray well for us to learn something good from them.
What they were doing, it wasn't good as a parliament. At least those that we voted for you to go and speak on our behalf and you are fighting in parliament. What do you expect the rest of the world to know the kind of parliament that we have? Which is no good and it's a bad image for the country. which at least the elders in the country should come around. Actually, they should talk to them and know that they are there for a purpose and they are not there for their selfish interest or their own interest. For the E-LEVY, at least most of those that we voted for you, that we say we don't like it. At least listen to the citizens. That it's too much, 1.75. And if, as Lowusu is saying that, if you are earning at least maybe if you can send 100 Ghana, you are rich. You can't say that 100 Ghana, you can use 100.
The controversial E-LEVY may be on hold for a while, at least till Parliament reconvenes in January. But for many mobile money operators, that simply compounds the uncertainty of what the tax will mean for them. The vendors have planned an industrial action on Thursday to highlight their objection to the tax. But what exactly are their concerns? My colleague Judith Awotritando has been finding out.
Aware of the most controversial issue in Parliament, the E-LEVY. Everyone is talking about it, from those in power to the common citizen. But while one of the most affected people are the mobile money vendors, will this help them or not? Today I'm here at the Circle Tiptoe Link and I'll be speaking to some mobile money vendors on the effects of the E-LEVY on their businesses. Hello. Hi.
Ibrahim Sadiq is a 19-year-old senior high school graduate who recently started the mobile money business so he can save up for his tertiary education. He's scared that the levy might crash his dreams.
It's going to affect it because, like, even the salary that you earn in a month, maybe if you were earning at first 500 a month, it will reduce to maybe 3,500 or 2,500. Which even if you gather for a whole year, it's not even pay for your semester fees or semester examination fees.
Many other vendors share in his sentiment. For them, the passing of the levy would mean slowing down their businesses by reducing the demand for their services.
If the person is coming to send and the charge is up, maybe the person will take a motor or something and go and give the money to the person. Then no one will be coming here to send money, so it will slow the business for us.
For the announcement in the
Since the E-LEVY was announced, our customers no longer want to work with us. They prefer using the banks or sending it themselves. It has really affected the business.
In fact, their grievances were confirmed when some regular customers said they were going to halt mobile money usage if government passed the E-LEVY.
As for me, I'm against it, 200%. Maybe in the 100, in the 50s, fine. That's one. In the thousands, 1,500, no, 2,000, I won't, because it will affect me. The money is not in the system. The least that I have to, you collect something out of it.
For now, it is uncertain what Parliament intends to do about the levy. But one thing is for sure, mobile money vendors are opposed to it. Judith Awotritando, TV3 News.
Well, they've served notice that on Thursday they will hit the streets. That's the mobile money vendors. We'll keep an eye on that, bringing you some more in our subsequent bulletins. President Akufo-Addo has charged district auditors to live up to expectations in the discharge of their duties by ensuring that all avenues which cause leakages into the public purse are blocked. He was unhappy that several cases of financial malfeasance were uncovered at the Public Accounts Committee.
The president was addressing auditors at the maiden edition of the District Auditors Conference in Kumasi.
Every time we wince at the details of the reports of the Auditor General and the hearings of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, we know the district auditors are not working as they should. Unfortunately, it has become routine for the Auditor General to uncover cases of financial malfeasance in the public service that would otherwise go unnoticed until he or she appears. It is not pleasant, but we cannot avoid the conclusion that the district officer, the district auditor, must then be either complicit or incompetent. We cannot afford to have auditors that will be complicit in the malfeasance they are expected to prevent. And certainly, We do not need incompetent auditors.
The fight against corruption, according to President Akufo-Addo, can only be effective if district auditors work as expected of them.
District auditors, working as they should, would bring confidence into the public sector. District auditors, working as they should, will keep in check not only the lowly clerk, but also the district chief executive, and ultimately, the audit service will check even the president. The district auditor is one of the primary weapons in the fight for the protection of the public purse and the fight against corruption.
The Auditor General expressed the readiness of the service to help in the fight against corruption.
Your Excellency, under your able leadership, you have helped transform the audit service, and now we have been put in a position poised to take the fight against corruption to another level.
The conference was on the theme ensuring the efficiency and effectiveness of the state auditor in a digitized economy.
Well, let's go back to Parliament, and this time the Ghana Police Service has just issued a statement on law enforcement arrangements in Parliament. And I'm going to read a bit of it in verbatim. It says, following the recent happenings in the House of Parliament during the 2022 budget debate, some concerned citizens, that's Ghanaians, have questioned why the police did not go into the chamber to maintain law and order and take action against members of parliament who were seen engaging in what looked to many like violent disturbances and scuffles in the chamber of parliament. Well, that's what you see there. The Ghana Police Service wishes to draw the attention of the general public to the fact that by Ghana's constitutional arrangement, security issues within the chamber of parliament are the responsibility of the marshal to parliament, who takes instructions from the clerk of parliament on such matters. 3, the legal position is that the police have no authority to enter the chamber of parliament to undertake any law enforcement venture. Any such act will be in contravention of the laws of the country. 4, therefore, the marshal and his team of officers have to deal with such situations in the chamber and thereafter refer the matter to the police for investigations and possible prosecution if the leadership of the House so decides. Police wish to assure the public that in as much as we are committed to a mandate of maintaining law and order in the Ghanaian society, we are also mindful not to overstep the limitations imposed on us as police by the law. However, we initiated steps to engage the clerk, marshal and leadership of parliament to fashion out a more proactive way of supporting parliament in this regard within the confines of the laws of the country. It's signed by ACP Kwesifori, who's the Director General, Public Affairs of the Ghana Police Service. So, as you see there, the scuffle that did indeed ensue and the violent disturbances as we're seeing right now in that video, the police say that they can only act if the leadership of the House, that's the Speaker and the leadership, refer this matter to the police for investigations. We'll see how the coming days will look like.
You're watching us live on News 360 right here on TV3. We have business news coming up. Please stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. In some business news this evening, Chamber of Petroleum Consumers is projecting a 3% increase in fuel prices in the next pricing window, indicating the month of January could be volatile.
For the first window of January 2022, we are thinking and forecasting that prices may surge by 3%. Nominal terms, a litre may increase or may surge by 20 pesos on a litre. So the average price currently, as we've observing in the market, which goes for 6 Ghana cedis in the second window of December 2021, will go up. For that matter, export price for diesel and then petrol average will be sold at 6 Ghana cedis, 80 pesos.
According to the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, oil marketing companies are likely to use their margins to cushion consumers in the first pricing window in January.
We've also realized that prices were supposed to have gone lower than we are observing in this particular window, because OMCs actually utilize all their margins, which we think that in the first window of January 2022, they may not utilize all their margins. They may reduce their margins by 10 pesos or 20 pesos. When they do reduce their margins by 10 pesos or 20 pesos, then the consumer will benefit. But if they keep their margins fully, then it means that the export price of diesel or petrol could be sold at 6 Ghana cedis, 90 pesos on a liter, which I think the consumer may not actually benefit, because they staggered in the second window of December 2021. I think in the first window of January 2022, they may not charge their full cost recovery.
This could see prices being fairly stabilized at the local pumps in the first month of the new year.
And now the price of frozen chicken is up by about 60% as traders in the commodity are beginning to hoard. Checks at some key cold stores in the capital reveal that the delays in poultry imports into the country from key markets, coupled with high import charges, is the major reason. From 90 cedis, frozen chicken is averagely selling at 170 cedis a carton.
Now the importers not bring more goods. If you go meeting, we ask the importer that why he didn't bring the goods. They say the duty is more expensive. That's why. Now some are 120, 110, 130. Now the thing is increased because the importers are talking against that one. The half is 35. We have 35 and 45.
But now how much?
But now we have 65 and 60. Some are 70 for the half. The Xmas is coming, but now there is no market. There is no money in system. So some people are buying, it's not half money to buy it. Me, I'm MPP person, but this system is hard.
If the duty there is a little bit low, definitely the importer too would decrease or minimize the price of it. So me, I can say everything depends on or everything based on the way the duty has raised. At first we used to sell chicken like 90, 100 there. Because of the higher the rates of the duty, we can't sell it at that particular price again unless we raise it. Why we don't have enough chicken in the system, all based on the duty, right? And so if like somebody wants to even bring some to this country, but because of the duty over there, that person when that person calculates the duty and then what the person will get, then you could see there's no way she or he can sell it, and so that person will not even bring it at all.
That's all for the business news segment on News 360 tonight. Sports news is up next.
Hi, a pleasant evening to you. My name is Yao Ofosulabi. Let's do sports news now here on News 360. So our first story, and Ghana coach Milovan Raivaj has named a 30-man provisional squad to represent Ghana at the Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon next month. He did this at the GFA Secretariat on Tuesday. My colleague Nanakwe Kwanderson was there and filed this report.
As the names rolled off Maxwell Konedu's tongue, journalists looked on pensively with a mountain of questions written on their sheets, while players watched with bated breath, hoping to hear their names amongst the list of players to represent Ghana at Africa's most prestigious tournament. The 30-man squad was highly dominated by foreign-based players, but Richard Atta of Hearts of Oak, Philemon Bafo and Abdul Fattah Isahaku, all of Dreams FC, David Abagna of RTU and Maxwell Abekwe of Great Olympic earned a place on Milovan's list. He explains the inclusion of the guys who have heavily impressed in the Ghana Premier League.
As I said, the previous question was similar, so I'm not here to talk about individuals. It would be unfair and unprofessional. I have faith in all these players and even in some players who are not in this list. For sure, it was not an easy decision to make this list, because I know many of them. I can count on them for the future. Who is not here, it doesn't mean he will not be here next time. So I have full faith in them, and they are there to prove themselves, and when they get the chance, they should use it. So.
The inclusion of local players is one that excites sports journalist Maurice Kwanza. Kwanza believes their inclusion helps the standard of league and their performance at the tournament will be key.
I've watched quite a number of league matches. I've been impressed with the talent I've seen. Some of the finest talents find themselves in. So I think it's a fair reflection of what we've seen. Maxwell Abikwe, I expected him. And the leading scorer, Ganiyu, has already been. Some people who perhaps ask why we don't have Avalora. He's had this opportunity, and even in the league, he's made a few mistakes.
The local contingent will travel to Doha on Wednesday, where they will team up with the rest of the invited players as the team opens camp that same day to begin preparation for the tournament. Ghana is expected to play a yet-to-be-named side on Tuesday, December 28, before taking on one of the Africa Cup of Nations qualified teams on Friday, January 1, 2022, in another friendly. The team will wrap up their test matches against African champions Algeria on Wednesday, January 5, 2022.
Also, that was my colleague Nana Kwekwandesen's report there. But let's just go through the Black Stars squad list again for you. And just behind me, you can see that. And Lawrence Atizigi, as well as Joseph Wolacott and Richard Atau of Accra Hatsufolk are the goalkeepers. For defenders, there's Gideon Mensah, Baba Abdurrahman, Jonathan Mensah, Daniel Amate, and Alexander Jiku, who has been a revelation for the Black Stars in the past few games. Also for midfielders, Thomas Partey, who's vice-captain of the Black Stars, is in there. Baba Idrisu, Mubarak Wakasu, and Edmond Ado, who has impressed greatly for Sheriff Tiraspol, particularly in the UEFA Champions League, is in there. Mohamed Kudus is there, as well as Joseph Pinto, who has been handed a call-up back into the Black Stars fold. Forwards, there's Jordan Ayew, there's Richmond Boachiyadon, who plays in Jerusalem, and then there's a place for Maxwell Abekwe and Benjamin Tete, who plays in Yeni Matayaspor in Turkey. Well, now to the debutants for the Black Stars. These are the players who have been handed their first ever call-ups there for the Black Stars. There's Khalid Abdul Mumin, who plays for Victoria Guimarães, and then Salis Abdul Samed plays for Clermont Foot in the Ligue 1. Maxwell Abekwe, for his 7 goals this season in the Ghana Premier League, has earned a call-up. He plays for Accra Great Olympics, and David Abagna has played 9 games this term in the Ghana Premier League and has scored 8 goals. He's the man on form at the moment there. David Abagna has also earned a place in the Black Stars fold. Well, now let's just check out the itinerary also for the Black Stars. Is the program outline for the Black Stars. The local contingents set to depart Ghana on December 22, and then the final squad will be submitted on December 30. The first friendly is on December 28, where Ghana will take on a club side in Qatar, and then the second friendly is in January. Ghana is either to take on Egypt or Sudan, also on the 1st of January. Then the 3rd of January will have another. The third friendly, I beg your pardon, is on January 5, where Ghana will take on Algeria, and the team will depart on January 7 to Cameroon to begin preparations also for their first game against Morocco on January 10. Well, that's all the sports news this evening here on News 360. My name is Yao Ufusula. International news and entertainment will be after the break.
In entertainment news tonight, Ghanaian filmmaker Kobe Maxwell has premiered his TV reality show, My African Love. The TV show features Andrea Owusu, popularly known as Ifeodo. Some cast and producers of My African Love spoke to Naftali Bar at the Snap Cinemas.
Entertainer Ifya Odo is up for the challenge in the all-new TV reality show, My African Love. After several unsuccessful relationships, her goal was to test 15 men selected from different African countries in a bid to find her one true love. After a long wait, My African Love with Ifya Odo finally hit the Snap Cinemas.
Say I get a vision to find my African love.
So all the emotions that I express is real, all the feelings that I express is real, the situations are also real. And we were shooting for 13 hours a day, so you can imagine how tired I was, but it's amazing. It's a perfect production by Kobe Maxwell. I really can't wait for you guys to watch it. Yeah.
And with all these men that came in, did you really see your speck in there?
Yes, I did. I love tall guys. And there were so many tall guys with muscles, white, brown, chocolate. I did see my specs, so that's why it was very difficult, because every week somebody had to go home. The series is made in perfection. We really took our time to shoot. We have amazing directors, amazing producers, and Ghanaians should learn that the home is not just for the woman to take care of. When a woman has a child, it's not just up to the woman to take care of the child. So men should also learn how to help women in the house, because women nowadays are career women. We work just like men. So after work, we come home and we're tired. We might not have the time or the energy to take care of the baby, to feed the baby. The man can also help. So the show is going to show you all of that. The man taking care of babies, feeding them, and all of that. Yeah.
Produced by Ghanaian filmmaker Kobe Maxwell, the excitement, thrills, and the great love stories and conversations of African love is still showing at the Snap Cinemas.